Hey book nerds, I'm Travis and this is Travis Reads Books. Today I'm doing another tag, though it's not strictly speaking book related, but I like movies too, so that's okay. I was tagged by J.B. Taylor to list the 10 movies that truly scared me. It was hard to come up with 10 because I don't scare easily, but I did manage. Number 1. Dawn of the Dead by George A. Romero. When I was much younger, I really enjoyed the video game Resident Evil 2, so I started searching for any zombie stuff I could get my hands on. Things were different then. Zombies weren't as prevalent as they are now. But I managed to find an old movie called Dawn of the Dead, and it scared the hell out of me. I had actually never seen a zombie movie before. My only experience with them was from video games. And seeing them come alive on the screen in the way that George A. Romero brought them to life was a truly terrifying experience. It's still one of my favorite horror movies to this day. Number 2. Zombie 2 by Lucio Fulci. And I'm probably going to butcher these Italian names because I got a couple Italian films on here and I'm not good with pronunciation. This movie is considered somewhat of a sequel to Dawn of the Dead, which is why it's called Zombie 2, because Dawn of the Dead in Italy was called Zombie, so this was the sequel, Zombie 2. Canonically, it's not part of the George A. Romero series, but it's still a really scary movie. It takes place on an island off the coast of somewhere far away, and what's terrifying about it is that everything is just dirty and gross. While Dawn of the Dead and most other zombie movies take place in buildings and out in the open, Zombie 2 takes place in forests and in huts and in a makeshift hospital. The bodies are wrapped in dirty bed sheets. Zombies come up out of the mud covered in worms and maggots. It's a very visceral kind of zombie movie, and is just as gory as any of George A. Romero's films. Number 3. Demons by Lamberto Bava. I saw this movie fairly young as well, and is one of the goriest films I've ever seen. It was so gory, it was a bit of a traumatizing experience for me. And not just blood and guts, but also boils and pus and fingernails and just lots of disgusting things. Italy made some great horror movies back in the 70s and 80s. Number 4. The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2, directed by James Wan. Either one of these would have been a decent addition. They are truly scary movies. But I decided to combine them into one entry because having both movies as separate entries on the list feels like kind of a cop-out. I actually watched The Conjuring 2 in VR, which made it about 10 times more scary than it already was. Number 5. Jason Goes to Hell, directed by Adam Marcus. This is actually widely regarded as the worst of the Friday the 13th movies. It doesn't even feature Jason prominently. It instead has random people being possessed by the demon soul heart of Jason or something like that. It's really quite awful, but it's the first R-rated horror movie I had ever seen when I was a kid. Again, it's more gory than scary, but at the time, seeing people cut in half for the first time in my life was kind of a scary experience. Number 6. A Clockwork Orange by Stanley Kubrick. This isn't strictly speaking a horror film, but it is horrific, and it is terrifying. It's a dark vision of the future that's becoming more and more likely every day. And Alex is one terrifying antagonist. Or protagonist, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Number 7. Event Horizon by Paul W.S. Anderson. This is a movie about a spaceship that inadvertently opens a portal to hell, and it's really terrifying, but what's really odd about this movie is that it's made by Paul W.S. Anderson, who has made so many movies that are all so terrible. Among them, the Resident Evil movies, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He is just one of the worst directors in the world. How he made Event Horizon, which I think is fantastic, I have no idea. But it is one scary movie. Number 8. Blair Witch by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez. There are two types of people in the world. Those that find the Blair Witch Project scary, and those that find the Blair Witch Project silly. I'm one of the former. When I saw it in theaters, although it did make me a little motion sick, I really thought it was scary. There were almost no found footage movies at that time, and it was a really original idea and it had a realism that you wouldn't see in any studio-made films. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's Van Hout Mexican Blend. It's above average. Number 9, Fire Walk with Me by David Lynch. This prequel movie to the Twin Peaks series is scary because of David Lynch's bizarre take on reality and for the fact that Bob is one scary character. He scared me in the TV show, and he really scared me in this R-rated movie. Number 10, Paranormal Activity, Oren Peli. Like the Blair Witch, a lot of people just think this is stupid or silly, but I went in with no expectations and was really shocked and scared by it. Like the Blair Witch, it has a certain realism, and I think it's one of the finest examples of found-footage films out there. Though if you're going to see it, make sure you see the original cut. In the theatrical cut, the studios had got involved and changed the ending, probably to leave it open for a sequel. If you want to see the movie as it was intended, you should definitely see the original director's cut. Well, those are my 10 movies that scared me. Thanks to JB Taylor for tagging me. If you liked the video, be sure and give it a like. If you disliked it, feel free to give it a dislike. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads if you're so inclined. Thanks for watching. Love and respect. See you next time.